Welcome back to Kringle's Christmas Stories, brought to you by KringlesChristmas.com, home of Comet's Choice premium reindeer food. Reindeer tested, Santa approved. Tonight, we're diving deep into
Oh,
the legend of the Yule Stag,
uh,
a Scottish folk tale about a young boy who saves Christmas from a powerful winter witch.
okay.
It's a story brimming with magic and mystery, perfect for those who love a good tale
hmm
with a touch of holiday spirit. And you always did love a good story, especially one with a bit of magic woven in. So without further ado,
Yeah.
let's dive right into our tale.
Sounds enchanting. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, picture the Scottish Highlands. It's Christmas Eve in Glenfallow. A small village nestled amid snow-covered hills is usually alive with anticipation for the Yule Stag, a magnificent deer believed to bring blessings on the darkest night of the year. But this year, something feels different. An unsettling stillness hangs over the village.
Mm.
The rowan tree in the square, usually adorned with festive decorations to welcome the stag, stands bare. The loch shimmers under a sky thick with an unnatural mist, and an unfamiliar chill has settled over the hearts of the villagers.
The story wastes no time in setting a mood, does it? You can practically feel the unease creeping in.
Right. And at the heart of it all is young Ewan McGregor. He can sense this shift, this disquiet in the air, even as his family prepares for their traditional Yule feast. The songs feel quieter, the smile seems strained. As the village elder tries to light the candles on the rowan tree, a sudden gust of wind extinguishes them all, plunging the square into an unsettling darkness. Later that night, while everyone sleeps, Ewan is drawn from his bed by an unexplainable pull towards the forest. Armed with only a lantern, he steps out into the night, following his intuition into the unknown.
Oh, God.
As he ventures deeper into the woods, he hears a sound that chills him to the bone. A low, mournful bellow, pained and desperate. It's the Yule Stag, but its call is unlike anything he's ever heard.
So the hero is called to adventure. Classic storytelling at work. I wonder what awaits him in the forest.
Well, he follows the sound, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination, until he reaches a clearing bathed in an ethereal moonlight. And there, lying in the snow, is the magnificent Yule Stag, more breathtaking than he ever imagined. But something is terribly wrong. The stag is weak, its once brilliant antlers dimmed, its glowing eyes clouded with pain. The stag tells Ewan in a voice raspy with exhaustion that the balance of the season has been shattered. A powerful force, the winter witch known as the Kailich, has captured its spirit, its very essence. If Ewan doesn't retrieve it before dawn, the light of Yule, the spirit of Christmas itself, will fade forever, leaving the world shrouded in eternal winter.
Oh my, the stakes are high indeed. A classic battle between light and darkness, and our young hero is right in the middle of it.
Exactly. Ewan is just a boy terrified by the enormity of the task before him. But the thought of his family, his village, the joy of Christmas stirs something within him. With a trembling voice, he tells the stag, "I'll do it." The Yule Stag, sensing the pureness of heart within this young boy, gives Ewan a shard of its antler, a piece of its light to guide him, and sends him on his way.
A physical manifestation of hope, perhaps? A symbol of the stag's faith in him.
It's certainly a potent image. Now, the journey to the Caelita's lair is treacherous. The wind howls like a banshee snow piles high, and the path is riddled with dangers. But Ewan, fueled by his love for his family and his village, presses on the shard of antler, glowing faintly in his hand, a beacon of hope cutting through the oppressive darkness. He finally reaches the entrance to the lair, a dark, forbidding cave that seems to exude an icy breath. The shard in his hand pulses with a brighter light, urging him forward. Taking a deep breath, steeling himself for what lies ahead, Ewan steps into the cave.
Into the belly of the beast, as it were. This is where the real test begins, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Inside the cave is filled with an eerie, icy light. In the center sits the kite beach, every bit as terrifying as Ewan feared. Tall and skeletal with eyes like shards of ice, she radiates an aura of cold, unyielding power. In her hand, she holds a glowing orb, the captured spirit of the Yule Stag, flickering like a dying ember. Ewan, though small in stature, stands his ground. "You have to give it back," he tells her, his voice surprisingly steady. "Without the stag, Christmas will die." But the Kailich simply laughs, a chilling sound that echoes through the cavern, and mocks him for his foolish belief in warmth and joy. "Christmas is a fleeting fancy," she sneers. "A flicker of light in an endless winter. It has no place in my world."
What a chilling scene. You can feel the weight of Ewan's courage in the face of such an imposing figure.
Right. But he's not giving up. Christmas is about kindness. Ewan insists, his voice firm despite the tremor in his legs. It's about people coming together, even in the darkest times. You can't take that away. Intrigued by his defiance, the Kailich decides to test him. Very well, little one, she says, her voice like cracking ice. If you can withstand the trials of winter, the stag's spirit will be yours. But if you fail, she adds, her eyes flashing, your village will be plunged into an eternal frost, a testament to the futility of your hope.
Oh, this is getting good. A classic trial by fire or ice in this case. I'm on the edge of my seat.
The first trial is a storm, a whirlwind of snow and ice summoned by the Caliche with a flick of her wrist. Ewan is buffeted by freezing winds, the cold seeping into his bones. But he closes his eyes, pictures his family gathered around their hearth, their faces lit by the warm glow of the fire, and whispers, "Kindness warms even the coldest nights." As if in answer, the storm begins to subside, the winds losing their icy bite.
What a beautiful image. It speaks of the power of love and memory to sustain us even in the darkest moments.
I agree. But the Caliche isn't finished. With a snap of her fingers, she plunges the cave into an oppressive darkness. Sinister shadows writhe around Ewan, whispering doubts in his ears. "You're just a boy! You'll fail! You'll never save Christmas!"
Ah, the voice of doubt, a formidable foe indeed. We all battle those inner demons, don't we?
Indeed. But Ewan, remembering the twinkling lights of the village Christmas tree, the shared laughter of his family, the hope that Christmas represents, takes a deep breath and declares, "Hope lights even the darkest night." As his words echo through the cave, the shadows recoil, their whispers fading into silence. Now for the final trial, the Caliche freezes the ground beneath Ewan, creating a treacherous path to the orb that holds the stag's spirit. It's a test of his physical courage, his willingness to risk everything for what he believes in.
It all comes down to this, doesn't it? One final push to prove his worth. I wonder if he has the strength.
We do. Ewan's boots slip on the icy ground, his heart pounding with fear. But then he thinks of the Yule Stag's mournful bellow. The dim glow of the village lights the expectant faces of his family. He remembers the hope that flickers in his heart, the warmth that Christmas promises, and he starts to move one painstaking step after another across the ice.
He's so close. What happens next?
Well, I think we should let the suspense build for just a moment longer. After all, every good story needs a bit of drama, right? We'll pick up Ewan's journey and see if he succeeds in saving Christmas right after this quick message. Stay tuned.
All right, I'm on the edge of my seat here. Ewan's facing this final trial, inching his way across the ice toward that glowing orb. Don't leave me hanging. What happens next?
Okay. I won't keep you in suspense any longer. So Ewan is making his way across that treacherous ice, every muscle in his body tense, his eyes fixed on the stag's spirit trapped within the orb. And just as he reaches out, his fingers trembling with the effort, his boots lose their grip, and he stumbles.
Oh no. Does he fall?
For a moment, it seems like all is lost. But with a burst of desperate strength, he throws himself forward, the shard of antler in his outstretched hand. And it connects. The shard touches the orb, and the cave explodes with light. A blinding flash, a surge of warmth, and a sound like 1,000 bells ringing all at once. The Caliche cries out in anguish, her icy grip on the cave weakening as the spirit of the Yule Stag bursts free from its prison, soaring towards the ceiling of the cave like a streak of pure starlight.
Wow, what a powerful moment. It's like the very essence of Christmas breaking free from the clutches of winter.
Exactly. The cave, once filled with an oppressive chill, is now bathed in a warm golden light. The Caliche shrinks back, her power visibly diminished, as the stag's spirit disappears through a crack in the ceiling, returning to the night sky where it belongs. Ewan, exhausted but exhilarated, stumbles out of the cave just as the first rays of dawn paint the sky with hues of pink and gold. He emerges into a world transformed, the air fresh and crisp, the snow sparkling under the newborn sunlight. And there, in the clearing where he first encountered the wounded stag, stands a majestic creature fully restored to its former glory. Its antlers glow with an otherworldly light brighter than ever, and his eyes shine with gratitude.
The balance is restored, the light has returned. It's a beautiful image of hope and renewal, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The Yule Stag, its voice strong and clear, now thanks Ewan for his courage, telling him that because of him the spirit of Yule is safe, the light of Christmas will continue to shine. Ewan, still awestruck by the events of the night, asks if the stag will visit Glenfallow, and the stag simply smiles, saying, "I already have." And with that, it turns and melts back into the forest, leaving Ewan standing there blinking in the morning light, the echo of its words warming him from the inside out.
Oh, I love that. It's such a subtle yet powerful detail. The Yule Stag didn't need to announce its arrival. It simply brought its blessings to those who believed.
Right. It gives me chills just thinking about it. Now, when Ewan returns to Glenfallow, rubbing the sleep from his eyes like he's just woken from a dream, he finds the village transformed. The rowan tree in the square, once bare and lifeless, is now ablaze with light, Its branches are covered in glowing ribbons, each one pulsing with a soft golden light. The villagers are gathered around the tree, their faces lit with joy and relief, their voices lifted in song. The atmosphere is electric with the spirit of Yule, the warmth of Christmas filling every corner of the village.
So, the darkness has lifted, the village is alive with celebration. What a heartwarming ending.
It is, isn't it? Ewan's bravery, his unwavering belief in the goodness of Christmas, saved not only the Yule Stag, but also the spirit of the holiday for his entire village. And the best part, they never even knew he was the one who saved the day.
That's an interesting point. He's an unsung hero working behind the scenes, driven purely by his good heart. He doesn't need recognition or praise. The act itself is its own reward.
I think there's a powerful message in that, don't you? It reminds us that sometimes the most meaningful acts of courage and kindness are those done quietly without fanfare, simply because it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely. And it also speaks to the importance of believing in something larger than ourselves, something that gives us hope and purpose, even when the world seems dark and uncertain. Ewan's belief in the spirit of Christmas, his willingness to fight for it, ultimately saved the day.
As we were discussing earlier, this story is more than just a charming Christmas tale. It's steeped in Scottish folklore and tradition, with the Yule Stag and the Kyle representing forces that are much older, much deeper than the holiday itself. I think it'd be fascinating to dive a bit deeper into those aspects now, to explore the layers of meaning woven into this captivating narrative. What do you say?
I'd love to. I think there's a lot to unpack here. The Yule Stag, for instance, has been a symbol in Celtic cultures for centuries, representing the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, the turning of the seasons, the balance between light and darkness. It's fascinating how this ancient symbol is woven into the fabric of the Christmas story, adding a layer of depth and richness to the celebration.
That's so true. And the Kyle, too, is the figure steeped in mythology. She's often seen as a powerful, even fearsome figure, representing the harshness of winter, the destructive force of nature. But she's also a complex figure, sometimes seen as a protector of the land, a bringer of change and renewal.
It's interesting how these ancient figures and beliefs continue to resonate with us today, even in a modern world that often feels far removed from the world of folklore and myth. I think it speaks to a deep-seated human need to connect with something larger than ourselves, to find meaning and purpose in the cycles of nature and the stories that have been passed down through generations.
I agree completely, and I think that's what makes this story so compelling. It's a simple tale,
Yeah.
yes, but it taps into something primal, something universal. The struggle between light and darkness, the power of belief, the triumph of hope over despair. These are themes that resonate across cultures and time periods.
And they're especially relevant during the holiday season when we're surrounded by reminders of light and hope, even as we're confronted with the darkness and challenges of the world around us. This story reminds us that even in the face of adversity, even when the world seems cold and bleak, there's always a reason to believe, a reason to keep fighting for the good.
Beautifully said. Now, I know we've been talking about the deeper meanings behind the story, but I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the idea of Ewan being an unsung hero. I think there's a powerful lesson there for all of us, don't you?
Absolutely. We often think of heroes as larger-than-life figures, people who accomplish extraordinary feats. But true heroism can be found in the everyday, in the small acts of courage and kindness that we choose to do often without recognition or reward.
I love that. So as you listen to this story, dear listener, think about the Ewan in your own life. It might be a friend who always offers a helping hand, a neighbor who brightens your day with a smile, a family member who always knows just what to say to make you feel better. These are the everyday heroes who bring light and warmth into our lives, often without expecting anything in return.
And perhaps as you go about your day, you might even be inspired to be a bit more like you and yourself. Look for opportunities to spread kindness, to offer support, to be a beacon of hope for someone who might be struggling. You never know the impact a small act of generosity can have.
That's a wonderful thought to leave our listeners with. And speaking of gifts,
And speaking of gifts, this whole conversation has been a gift. The story of Ewan and the Yule Stag is not just a charming holiday tale, it's a powerful reminder of the enduring strength of the human spirit.
it's funny you should say that, because I was just thinking the same thing. Ewan's journey, his willingness to face his fears and fight for what he believes in, is truly inspiring. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable obstacles, hope can triumph.
And it's not just about grand gestures or heroic feats. It's about the small, everyday acts of kindness, generosity, and courage that we all have the power to choose. Like you and we can choose to be a source of light and warmth in the world, to make a difference in our own unique ways.
Exactly. And that brings me back to something we touched on earlier, the importance of belief. Ewan's unwavering belief in the spirit of Christmas, his faith in the goodness of humanity, ultimately gave him the strength to persevere. It's a powerful reminder that our beliefs can shape our reality, that what we choose to focus on can have a profound impact on our experiences.
I think that's such a valuable insight, especially during the holiday season when it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle, the material aspects of the celebration. It's important to remember the deeper meaning behind it all. It's about connection, compassion, and spreading joy to others.
Absolutely. And speaking of spreading joy, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. The story poses an intriguing question. If the Yule Stag were real, what gift would you ask it to bring to the world?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There are so many things I could wish for. But I think more than any specific material gift, I would ask the Yule Stag to bring a renewed sense of hope to the world. A hope that transcends differences, that unites people in a common purpose. A hope that inspires us to create a brighter future for ourselves and generations to come.
That's a beautiful wish, and one that I think resonates deeply with the spirit of the story. After all, isn't hope at the heart of the holiday season? The hope for peace, for joy, for a world filled with kindness and generosity.
You said it. And I think it's a hope worth holding on to, not just during the holidays, but throughout the year. It's a hope that can guide us through challenging times, that can inspire us to be better versions of ourselves.
This has been such a rich and rewarding conversation. Thank you for sharing your insights and for helping us to dive deeper into the meaning behind this beautiful story.
The pleasure was all mine. It's always a joy to explore the power of storytelling and the timeless wisdom contained within these ancient tales.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the legend of the Yule Stag. We hope it's left you feeling inspired, hopeful, and ready to embrace the magic of the season.
Remember, the spirit of the Yule Stag lives within each of us. It's the spark of kindness, the warmth of generosity, the unwavering belief in the power of hope to light our way.
Thanks for dropping by Kringle's Christmas Stories.